Okay, a very good morning to all. Welcome to this fourth lecture in heat transfer. And today we'll continue our discussion on boundaryless. In our last class, we quantitatively understood what is started with convection, and we understood what is boundary-less. Then we understood the importance of dimensionless numbers. And today we'll formally start our discussion on boundaryless, where we'll try to understand them mathematically, and also we'll try to answer the important question: why boundaryless are to be studied by engineers? What is the importance of boundaryless for engineers? Okay, so let's start. uh, this is the same diagram that we had discussed in the last class. We had used this same particular case where a free stream of fluid is flowing, and then it comes into contact with the plate, and then we saw how velocity boundary layer is formed, and we extended the same concept to your thermal boundary layer, to a thermal boundary layer, right? So we'll continue with the same example, and there's a fluid with velocity u infinity, which is flowing, and it now has a temperature T infinity. This is x direction, this is the x direction, and this is the y direction, so it's flowing in your x direction. And now it comes over in contact with the surface. Now it's flowing over a surface which is having a temperature which is different than the fluid's free stream temperature. So T infinity is the temperature of the fluid, and Ts is the temperature of the plate. As you can see, the Ts is hot by red color visually. So, and the condition that Ts is greater than T infinity. So by our natural convection, we can say that as soon as this fluid particle comes in contact with this plate, the this plate will try to heat the particle. I will put one more condition on the plate, that this plate, or the surface is isothermal. So basically its temperature will not be changing, and hence we can say the plate is at a constant temperature Ts. Now what will happen when this particular fluid particle flowing comes in contact on the plate? It will come in equilibrium with the plate's temperature, and its temperature will change from T infinity to Ts. Basically, the heat will be transferred from the plate to the fluid, the first layer of the particle that has now got in touch with it. Also, from velocity boundary layer, we know that this particle is now stationary with respect to the plate, and it acts something like a solid. Now, because it's not moving, nothing else. Now, this first layer of particles all over the plate that have got the temperature Ts will try to give some heat to the adjacent layer of the particle. So this was this layer one. Now they will try to give this heat to this layer two of the particles, and so on and so forth. This will continue to a point where again the temperature of the fluid will be near about T infinity, and that point in the y direction, or that height in the y direction where the stream regains its temperature to 99% of its initial value, is your thermal boundary layer. So we say that the okay, so we can here easily say like Ts minus T upon Ts minus T infinity, when this ratio almost reaches 0.99. So this is that profile of the ratio, and how it comes we had discussed in the last class, is basically your boundary layer. So this is where the temperature gradient has occurred, and from now here on the temperature is T infinity and uniform. We can also sketch the temperature profile at a particular x, say this particular x, and here since the particle was in touch, so here its temperature will be Ts. So the magnitude of the so sorry, it won't be a vector anymore. So the magnitude of this line denominates the temperature. So Ts, which is large, slowly it will decrease, decrease, and now here the values are almost same. Okay, and this will be the temperature profile, something like this. And you can see from this area, it's almost matching, it's almost same, and this ratio is almost 6.99. Initially, we can say that the temperature was before entering the plate. Now, our task is to find out or apply what we have learned till now. So we can say that at surface, Qs per unit area, flux that has been transferred from the solid surface to the plate per unit area will be minus Kf dt by dy at y is equal to 0. And this has to be equal to, this Qs has to be equal to the convective heat transfer coefficient times the temperature gradient, which is Ts minus T infinity. We can now equate these two conditions and find out the value of H, which is minus Kf dou T by dou y. This has to be at y is equal to 0 divided by Ts minus T infinity. Now, from this particular expression, we can clearly see that the conditions in the thermal boundary layer, how they are affecting your H. So, Ts minus T infinity is something which is constant. And why we are interested in this is because H determines the heat transfer, rate of heat transfer across the boundary. So Ts minus T infinity is constant. It is independent of the X, like it is independent of X. It's always constant. Ts is here, T infinity is here. Fine. But our thermal boundary layer is increasing as we as the X progresses. So it is something which is a function of X. And now, because that delta is increasing, your temperature gradient, this one, del T by del Y at y equal to 0 will change. It will actually decrease because that can be approximated as del T by del X. Your del X is this distance, and sorry, del T by del Y. Your del Y is basically this del, which is changing with X, which is actually increasing. Your del T is something constant. So basically, this particular term over here is decreasing as we are progressing in the X direction. Meaning that your H is now decreasing with X, or your H is something like a function of X. Is this clear, guys? A simple raise of hands. Okay, good. Now, this is the problem in heat transfer. Similarly, if you think of a mass transfer setup where this is a plate of sugar, crystallized sugar, and now you are flowing water over it, sugar will eventually start getting dissolved or diffused into the water, and there will be a concentration gradient of sugar in the water, and instead of temperature, just replace it by the concentrations, and you need to basically solve in that case for mass fluxes, which will look like say an A is the flux of that A that has been diffused into liquid will be minus by A and do Ca by do Y. Again, this should be equal to 0. And Na, the convective term, will be, you can write it as Ka convective mass transfer coefficient Ka, or in some cases people write it as H mass transfer HM times your concentration gradient. So this will be CAS minus Ca at infinity. Then you equate it for Na, and you will land up with the similar expression for HM or our Ka, which is equal to minus delta AB dou C by dou Y, so dou Ca by dou Y at Y equal to 0, divided by, here it will be the overall concentration. So, and similarly, you can think of fluid also. So what is the significance of boundary layer for us as engineers? Why do you want to study this? So when we talk about fluid mechanics, we are very much interested in understanding the velocity profiles, how, what will be the flow rate through the pipe, etc. And there you have seen that friction coefficient, surface friction of fluid between the fluid and the walls of the cylinder play a very important role in the pressure, in determining the pressure drop. So this surface friction is nothing but the analogous of H in fluid in your fluids. In heat transfer, so in fluids, we need to know things like what will be the flow rate that I will get for given delta P. This is one typical case that you always think you want to understand. So this is basically a convective flow of fluid. This is a case of convective flow of fluid. So for a given geometry, say like a pipe, and now there is a friction factor. Okay, someone is coming. Yeah. In heat, you need to know what will be your heat flux for given delta T for a given system. So you have some walls, which is dipped in fluid, something of that sort. In mass, you need to know what is the molecular flux of a particular analyte in a given system, where your concentration gradients are fixed. So in all these cases, in fluids, it's the friction factor that is very important to be understood. In heat, H is the term. In mass, it is HM or KL. That is important to us. So from this boundary layer, what we as engineer need to know is the surface friction, convective heat transfer coefficient, and convective mass transfer coefficient. So some people call this friction factor as CF, some say it as small f. So these are the principal manifestations that we need to extract from the boundary layer, and that is why we need to understand the boundary layer. So is this clear, guys? What is the significance of boundary layer for engineers in all the three transports that we study: fluid, mass, and heat? I mean, fluid, species, and heat, or fluid, heat, and species. Quick, simple raise of hands. Okay. If anyone has a doubt, he can speak up. Okay. No.
Sir, I did not understand.
So yeah, Kaushik. So
Means I
yeah,
did not understand. So what is the significance correctly exactly?
Okay, so since we are talking, like we are principally taking the heat transfer course as of now, so I'll just take a heat example. Okay, so yeah, must be remembering this particular example where a ball or a metal sphere was dropped in a pool of cool liquid, and now we were trying to understand at uh, what rate does this uh, particular metal ball gets cooled. Kaushik, do you remember this example?
No, sir, I did not attend that class.
Okay, I'll be posting the videos about that very soon. So we had discussed
Okay.
this particular case. Okay, or let's take more simplistic case then. So let's say you have a wall or a metal bed which is at say 200 degrees Celsius. So this side's temperature is 200. And now there is this particular thickness of the wall, say 1 centimeter or something. This metal is having some conductivity K. So do you appreciate that there will be a temperature gradient over here like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. And there will be a net flux that will be flowing from this end of the wall to the other end of the wall. And now this particular side of the wall is exposed to air, which has a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. Will there be a flow of heat from this particular end to this end?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how do we solve this problem? We say that the overall net temperature gradient delta T is 200 minus 25, which in this case is 175. Then we use the concept of equivalent thermal, we use the concept of those equivalent resistances, and then we say, heat flux that is been flowing from this end of the wall to this end will be given by your delta T by the net thermal resistances, and we know the delta T value. Now our task is to find out the RT values, which will be, first one is this one, R1, and then we need to find out this R2. Okay, just let me put it in some other ink. So we need to find out R1 and we need to find out R2. So R1 will be, yeah, anyone who has done our initial classes, it is the resistance of the conductive flux. How do
L
you?
by K.
Very good. And what will be the other one? 1 by HA. Correct?
Yes.
Should be H. It's not only the H. Now, for this particular system, we need to find out the value of H, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct? How do we find out the value of H? And then in the last class, we were discussing various cases where how H was getting changed. So we were trying to understand it, like we had the glass of hot milk and we kept it in a pool of cool water. Then we started stirring the water. Then we started stirring the hot liquid. Then we kind of started circulating flow of the hot milk so that it gets cooled within the, and we saw it in all the cases the Q is changing, but the overall delta T is remaining same. So what we are essentially changing is the RT, where we are actually talking changing the H. Do you agree? I mean,
Yes, sir.
so in our efforts to understand H, we have to then we took this particular small area over here. What is happening at this particular point? and then we magnified it. Oh, it's highly magnified. I'm sorry for that. And then we magnified it over here. So this is that particular wall, which is say, which was at say the other end was at 200, or let's say it was uniformly at a particular temperature. And now this fluid is nothing but the air. Okay, now there, now do you accept that there will be a temperature gradient? And now that air is flowing, or that fluid is flowing over the surface. Or let's say you had a hot metal piece which was heated, and now you have kept it under a tap. Right? And now you need to find out at what rate it is getting cooled. So to solve the problem, you are actually requiring the value of H in the exam, but you don't know what is the value of H. Okay, in the exam also, in you don't know in real life what is the value of H. And now we are trying to find out the value of H, because we know solving the problem is very simple. Find out delta T, find out the overall RT or summation of all the thermal resistances, divide it, get the flux. Sometimes you know the flux for a given system, or you know what kind of flux has to be achieved, right? And you need to find out the value of RT which is suitable to achieve that flux, and you know the temperature differences. So that is the second set of problems. This is typically the case of your heat exchanger, where you know that you need to transfer this many joules of energy per second from hot stream to cold stream. The hot stream temperatures are fixed, the cold stream temperatures are fixed, so you know the delta T. And now you need to engineer the system. By meaning that you need to engineer the system is you need to engineer this RT by changing L, K, HA, HA, and so on and so forth. So our question again comes to down to this point: how to find the value of H, how to engineer H, correct? And in our attempt to understand H, we started with this, like this case, a very simple setup to understand H. And from here, we said this is the formation of boundary layer over here, because it was a heterogeneous system. It was a solid and fluid in contact. And you will be seeing it in your fluid mechanics also, when the fluid was flowing through a pipe and you are applying a pressure difference, and the fluid was flowing because of the pressure difference. But at the walls, the fluid was because of the boundary layer that has been formed, a layer of fluid sticks to the wall. It is stationary. So, and then it tries to pull the other layer. Okay, दे भाई तू भी रुक जा, मैं भी रुकूं, तू भी रुकेगा, तू कैसे भागता है? Then it tries to pull. Then now the second layer tries to pull the third layer, and so on and so forth. So you know, you must have seen some temperature profiles like this coming out in your fluid mechanics. And then to incorporate that, you say okay, ये जो स्टील पाइप है, इसका जो फ्लूइड को पकड़ने का जो फोर्स है, या the energy that has been required to get it, you know, comes from various factors. अगर मैं वो स्टील के पाइप का रफनेस चेंज कर दूं, तो वो और ज्यादा फ्लूइड को पकड़ के रखेगा. अगर मैं उसको स्मूथ करूंगा, तो वो बहुत जल्दी से भगा देगा उसको, so on and so forth. Then you use that friction, this what is roughness factor, what kind of material it is, what fluid it is flowing at, what temperature it is flowing, and you then calculate the value of F. You use that value of F, and now you say, okay, to achieve this particular flow rate, I will require this particular pressure difference, or I need to give this particular pressure difference, which will be given by your pump. और फॉर अ गिवन सेट ऑफ सिस्टम, कि मुझे ग्राउंड फ्लोर से ऐसे 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 करके इधर के ऊपर के घर की टंकी में पानी चढ़ाना है. सो एट अ फ्लो रेट ऑफ से 100 liters per minute, I will require a pressure difference of this much. Similarly, we'll be using the same thing. And वहां पे जैसे फ्रिक्शन फैक्टर आपको आ रहा था, तो वो फ्रिक्शन फैक्टर कहां से आ रहा था? तो that was because of the velocity boundary layer. In heat transfer, the analogous thing is the convective heat transfer coefficient, and in mass transfer the analogous thing will be convective mass transfer coefficient. हर जगह आपको वही देखना है. उधर ड्राइविंग फोर्स था आपका प्रेशर डिफरेंस, एंड द फ्लक्स दैट यू आर मेजरिंग वाज यू नो द फ्लूइड फ्लो रेट. इधर आपका ड्राइविंग फोर्स इज द टेम्परेचर ग्रेडियंट और द टेम्परेचर डिफरेंस, एंड व्हाट यू आर सीइंग is the heat flux. वहां पे concentration gradient, and what you're seeing is the molecular flux of your particular analyte A or B जो आप देख रहे हो. So that's why we start to understand the boundary layer. Now is it clear, Kaushik?
Yes, sir.
This is why engineers need to study. And now as an engineer I will say यार मैं इतना भी क्यों पढूं, इतने भी क्यों मैं equations और इसको ये करूं. I will do it in a very fantastic way. So what I say secondly, I mean continuing with that is okay, मैं क्या करता हूँ, ये है प्लेट आपकी, ठीक है. आपका Q x के साथ चेंज हो रहा था, यही प्रॉब्लम आया था. So what I will do is I will take this plate, no problem. Okay, I know something that is called averaging, and I will average the things out. So this is the side view of the plate over here. ये side view है इस plate का, ये वाले, right? So I will now try to take smaller sections. इसका top view कुछ इस तरह से होगा. I mean it will be extended in this direction. So this will be a plate, right? And this thickness. So I will now try to take out the sections like this. Okay, and I will integrate it and I will divide it by the area. So I will get average values. So, and I can use averages with some small errors or, and my thing will work out. Q itna karu. But even for that, if you go and look, Q will be your integral QS, which was per unit area, into differential area, this particular differential area that we took. This was your x direction. Okay, this doesn't look like x. This was your x direction, and I try to integrate it over the complete area, and then I say the other Q will be okay, Ts minus Ta. Why I have kept it outside the integration? Because it's a constant. Okay, this should be T infinity. Ts minus T infinity over. We know that H is changing with your x. So H into now again dA. This has now to be integrated over the entire surface area. And now I simply equate both the quantities and find out the average value of H, which will come out to be this integration match. Okay, 1 by AS इंटीग्रल h dA. बट इधर भी अगर आप देखोगे दिस h स्टिल रिमेन्स, h तो निकालना ही पड़ेगा. सो अब क्या करें? सो विल स्टार्ट विथ अ सिंपल केस ऑफ लैमिनार. And we'll use those equations that I had asked you to read. Okay, so and we'll try to understand it. यहाँ तक सब कुछ क्लियर है? Okay, it says yes. Okay, good. किसी को कोई डाउट है तो just interrupt me right now, and it's a good time to ask. Okay, so I will use the analogy from fluid first, and then I will take it to your to our heat transfer, because understanding the things in fluid is simple for this particular approach. So देखो एक पाइप में फ्लूइड फ्लो हो रहा है, ठीक है, तो उसमें कुछ फंडामेंटल लॉ हमेशा चलेंगे या नहीं चलेंगे उसके. If you are agreeing with me, a yes or a raise of hand. Yeah, they would always be applicable. So what are those fundamental laws? Those are your conservation of mass, conservation of energy, conservation of species, your Newton's second law of motion. So in any system, say fluid में just कुछ fluid flow हो रहा है, in heat transfer, some heat is being transferred from that solid to fluid. Everywhere, even if I take a differential volume or a differential element, okay, these equations will always be satisfied. So my first argument is fundamental laws will be always applicable or be abided, right? So we'll use those laws over differential elements of systems under our study, and try to find out if we can generate some sort of expression to find out the friction factor, or to find out the H, or to find out K. So for this, we'll try to restrict our attention to the terms that are significant, and we'll try to eliminate the terms that are kind of negligible. Okay, so first term in heat transfer that we can remove for the above case, where a fluid was flowing, where this fluid was flowing over a flat plate, is there is no generation of energy. Simply I can say Q equal to 0. Okay, now if the temperature would have been same, in the temperatures would have been same, and we were just discussing, velocity boundary layers. Okay, we were just discussing velocity thing. Then we would have said the body forces that are there will be 0, and in mass transfer, we'll say the NA term will be 0, which is similar to the where we incorporate reactions. I'm just trying to put out the analogies, but for our case, we'll say that Q equal to 0, and as a result that we have now neglected this, we'll now add more implications to it. We will add no more simplifications to the equations. So we'll say that this boundary layer thickness, or we can even see this particular boundary layer thickness is very, very small as compared to this length scale. Boundary layer thickness is in y direction, and this plate is in x direction. This thickness or this length in x direction is in the range of centimeters or meters, whereas boundary layers are 3 orders or 4 orders smaller than your x direction. एग्जाम्पल, स्केल ले लो एक, उस स्केल के ऊपर आप शहद डालो एंड लेट इट फ्लो, लेट इट फॉल. ठीक है, what is the length of scale? It is somewhere around 15 centimeters. So that was the plate over here. And now आप देखो वो शहद का कितना बड़ा बाउंड्री लेयर बनता है, वो चिपका रहता है ना, वो स्केल के ऊपर चिपका रहेगा, वो मूव नहीं करेगा. It would be hardly 1 mm or 2 mm. What 2 mm in front of 150s. अगर आप उसको वाटर में करोगे तो और पतला हो जाएगा. If you use oil or kerosene, it will be still lesser. Similarly, so that एक physical analogy मैं आपको दे रहा था कि कितने वो छोटे होते हैं. Like 2 orders difference तो हनी में ही दिख रहा है. Water में it might be more. For oil, kerosene, by changing the fluid, it will be furthermore. Heat transfer का we can't see it by our naked eyes. So you guys can believe from this example, or you guys can think from this example कि हाँ, the boundary layer thickness is very small as compared to your x direction or the other direction. Do you guys agree? Okay, so this was the first case. Second, boundary layer thickness, which is delta. And this is true for all the 3 transports. So delta or delta T or delta M. Delta is for generally fluids में delta बोलते हैं. For thermal they add the suffix delta T. In mass transfer they will say it as delta M. Is very small as compared to the length, any single dimension of the object over which it is flowing. So this is the second approximation that value. We are trying to focus on the important thing. We are trying to eliminate the negligible things. Okay. Now, अब मैंने ये कह दिया कि बाउंड्री लेयर थिकनेस इज स्मॉलर देन दिस. सो अब the boundary layer is very small. So अब उस लेयर के अक्रॉस जो टेम्परेचर डिफरेंस आ रहा था, that has to change in this length scale only. मतलब वो जो प्लेट का एग्जांपल था जिसमें यहाँ से इधर के बीच में वो पूरा टेम्परेचर T infinity पहुंच जा रहा था, this change from your Ts to T infinity was basically occurring on this particular height. So this has to occur in the length scale of delta T, which is very small. So the gradients that are normal to the object surface, ये object का surface, इसके normal मतलब perpendicular जो gradient रहेंगे will be very large than those along the surface. So let me just draw that surface again. ये था अपना वो surface, ठीक है, and रहा वो boundary layer का ये. Now this distance del T is very small, and here it was Ts, here it was T infinity at this envelope point. So now you know ये gradient का एक rough value क्या होगा? Ts minus T infinity by del T. Del T is very small as compared to L. So ये direction में, this direction which is normal to the surface, इस direction में जो gradient है del T by del Y, this will be very large as compared to del T by del X. इस डायरेक्शन का ग्रेडियंट से तो वो बहुत ज्यादा होने वाला है. क्यों? क्योंकि del y is of the order of del t, and I mean del y is of the order of this boundary layer thickness, which is very small. Do you guys agree this? Yep. And since ये gradient है, तो gradient का rate of change भी इस डायरेक्शन में बहुत ज्यादा होगा. So del square T by del x square will be again very small as compared to del square T by del y square. Correct? यहाँ तक सबको क्लियर है? Okay, Pranmeet has raised. What about others? Everyone, is it getting clear? We are kind of confusing you. Okay, lots of people are raising hands and saying yes. So yes, okay, good. Now, if you just go back to those conservation of energy equation, and I'll write down the equation for right now. So it was Cp U del T by del X plus V del T by del Y is equal to X T by del X plus T by del Y Q del T by del Y plus U times 2px plus v times 2py plus mu into this q. हम लोगों ने ऑलरेडी डिसाइड कर लिया, हम लोगों ने अपने अप्रोक्सीमेशन से कुछ चीजें क्लियर कट कर ली थी कि दिस टर्म इज नेग्लिजिबल, ये है नहीं अपने सिस्टम में, ठीक है. अगेन जैसे हमने इधर लिया था फॉर टेम्परेचर, सिमिलरली फॉर फ्लूइड्स आल्सो, कि लेट्स से वो फ्लूइड फ्लो भी हो रहा था अपना प्लेट के ऊपर, तो हम उसके लिए भी एक सिमिलर कंडीशन डाल सकते हैं कि del square u by del x square will be very high than del square u by del y square, ठीक है. Then we'll say there is no pressure gradient, there won't be any pressure gradient in x direction or y direction. We can just try to simplify those things, and say dou p by dou x will roughly be equal to why I can use this approximation is because ये डायमेंशन देखो कितना बड़ा है, मस्त सा, ठीक है। इधर इस डायरेक्शन में हमें प्रेशर ग्रेडियंट निकालने हैं एंड इधर हल्का सा चेंज है, बट हम ये तो कह सकते हैं, हम यहाँ पे भी अप्रोक्सीमेट कर सकते हैं ना एक्स डायरेक्शन के, क्योंकि ये डिस्टेंस तो बहुत छोटा है। तो मैं भले ये पॉइंट पे लूं या ये लाइन पे लूं, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ना है, क्योंकि वी कैन अप्रोक्सीमेट इट। दिस हाइट वाज वेरी स्मॉल, सो इंस्टेड ऑफ टेकिंग इट एट दिस लाइन, मैं हल्का सा ऊपर लाइन पे ले लूंगा, दैट वुड बी नॉट एन इश्यू। So we can approximate this, then क्या हो रहा है, okay, then उसमें del x del y का प्रोडक्ट बन ये वो। so and इसके अलावा आप अगर और कोई प्रोपोर्शन नहीं, okay, so this final expression now comes down to this, u del t by del x plus v del t by del y। रो सीपी में यहां से उधर भेज रहा हूं। मैं ये भी कह रहा हूं कि k जो है, k